everybody. You are suspended here in animated wonder across central lobe of South Africa. It's about 83 degrees Celsius here. It's about 88 degrees Fahrenheit. My name is James Henry. It's wonderful to be here with us on safari. You know, that little thing that we're doing there was a test to see if the drone picture would work. I have no idea if you can see me or the drone now. Anyway, whatever it was, I bet you got some of good pick. And I'm confused. This is live.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You are live, you are live.
Now I'm deeply confused as to whether you saw the drone the first time round or if you were just looking at my face with a wobbly picture. Anyway, it is, like I said, 35 degrees Celsius odd plus minus 90 odd degrees Fahrenheit, and we're now being circled by the drone. Are you looking at the drone shot or at me? Oh, good. Okay, so you can see us standing there. You can see Herbie, and you can see Craig, and you can see me over here. Let me tell you how that was supposed to go, everybody. What was supposed to happen is that the drone was supposed to come whizzing along and then up into the air over the top of us as you snap to me. I'm off air now. Never mind. I don't know what's going on. Let's go for a walk. Out on vehicle today, Taylor, and she is with, I think she's with David, and Brian is lurking around. Our plan this afternoon is to just down here, the rather irritated little elephant bull. I just see us. Alright, we'll go down through this drainage system here, and I think we might lose signal. So while we do that, head across to Taylor, find out what her plans are. I shall recover from that introduction. Hopefully see you shortly with an elephant.
Good afternoon, and it's a stunning day out here in South Africa, but I'm sure James has already told you that. Now, my name is Taylor McCurdy, and on camera with me this afternoon is Davy Gravy. Oh, it's just David, but you can call him, well, seeing as though we were talking about nicknames this morning, I thought I'd just throw David's one out. Davy Gravy, yes. Now we're on this big windy dusty road at the moment, and we're heading towards Cheetah Plains, and hopefully we're going to find some cats there. I'd also like to see some elephants this afternoon, maybe a buffalo or two, and well, we'll really just see what else we can do, and then we're hoping to end off with a beautiful sunset this evening, possibly at Chitwa, somewhere around there. We'll find a good spot to have a look and see what is going on. Now remember, we are on a live safari, and well, we're happy to have you here. There we go, that was my slang for the day. And myself, James and Byron will try and happily answer any of your questions that you send through. So remember, hashtag Safari Live for Twitter, just in case you've forgotten, and questions at WildEarthTV. Now I must say welcome to everybody from Strawbridge Elementary. Woo! I hope you're excited to go on safari with us this afternoon. And I'd like to hear from you what animals you'd like to try and see. Maybe this is your first safari with us. And I'm sure you're all very, very excited. So tell your teachers what animals you'd like to see. And then we will try our absolute best to try and find them for you this afternoon. Hopefully we're going to have a good day, hey David? Are we going to check watering holes today? I think we need to check the watering holes because it is so hot this afternoon. Let's see what's here. Here's the first watering hole. And we seem to stop at this all the time. And there's normally a pair of guinea fowl, which is a bird that is black with little white spots on it. And it has a blue head. Hang on, David, I think I'm seeing something. It could be a stump. I'm just going to go forward a little bit. That's what you've got to do when you're out here on safaris. You've got to look. What is that? It eats the base of the tree. Look at that. I've spotted... What have I spotted, David? It's just a tree, really, hey? That's very good spotting for me. That beautiful marula tree. But to me, from over here, it actually looked like it could have been maybe a buffalo. And I thought, well, it would be a good place to be sitting right here because of that little mud wallow that you all just saw. It would be a nice place to cool off. But no buffalo for us, no guinea fowl for us. So we'll just have to keep searching. No, there's nothing. But that's fine. We're gonna be searching, of course, for cats and any other creatures, and hopefully we'll have lots to show you by the time we get to Cheetah Plains. But like I said, it's myself and James, and you're going to go across now to say and meet Byron.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome. My name is Byron, and with me on camera this afternoon is Brian and his very famous thumb. Now, we are in search of leopards. Now, I'm trying to see if I can't find Karula and her youngsters and her two cubs. They were in this area, but apparently there was a lot of hyena activity around and may have stolen the kill or the remains of the kill that she had. So I'm just going to have a careful look around here, because they were apparently moving backwards and forwards, north and south of our boundary. So stick with us, we're having a good look. It would be wonderful to see them. Haven't seen them this year yet, so I'd love to see them and see how they're doing. It's not always easy to find these little leopards, as you know. I also think that perhaps, you know, if it's a very, very warm day like this, that perhaps they would head towards a little waterhole or dam to get a drink. And I'm hoping that if that's the case, we can find them. I hope all of you are having a wonderful day. It's very, very warm for us out here. See some elephant tracks around here, but doesn't look too fresh. Now I'm just going to scan very, very carefully up in the trees. You never know, these little cubs are very, very active at the moment. They do climb trees, they sit on top of termite mounds, and I'm going to look very carefully to see if I'm trying to see if we don't find any of these leopards around somewhere. Don't forget, everyone, send us your questions, especially the young kids watching. Ask your teachers to send us your questions through either through Twitter at #SafariLive or email us questions@WildEarthTV. I'm just having a look around here now. So as I said, these leopards were in this area this morning, but I think because of all the hyena activity, they could very possibly have moved off. So let's see what we can find. I'm just having a look here too, as I said, trying to look for little tracks, signs that they may have come back onto our side, or if they are hiding in the bushes somewhere around here. And because it's so warm, these leopards are probably hiding in the shade. They don't like the heat very much, so they could be right under a bush in a thicket, very dense thicket, which make it very difficult for us to spot them. So unless we've got a clear sign of where they are, I think we're going to struggle a little bit. And you see, everybody, this is what makes it so exciting about being on a safari. So you don't know if you're definitely going to find what you are looking for, but we will do our best. And that's what being in a wild environment is all about. It's never a guarantee if you're going to see the animals, but that makes it so much more rewarding when you do see them, so that you do appreciate just how difficult it is to find these animals, and if they are around. I don't see any sign of them here at the moment. I I think what we're going to do is probably head towards one of our water holes or one of our dams. Let's go have a look around there and see if there's anything that might have gone for a drink. Especially when it's so hot, a lot of animals do need water, and we might be lucky and find something interesting close to the water hole. But we're going to stay around this area, because I don't think that these leopards would have moved very far today in this heat. While I head to the dam, my friend James is busy walking in the bush. Let's go say hello.
Hello everybody, here we are, standing with a warthog. Now I think we're talking to Strawbridge Elementary School, and it's lovely to have you with us. I'm talking very, and he gets scared by our voices. I'm speaking very quietly. Also, hello to all of you in Lynnhaven School. I hope you have a good day at school. It's not too cold where you are. It's very hot where we are here. And that's why that warthog is standing at the water. He's hoping to cool down, so we can move slowly through here. Down, so we can move through here. Very good to have you with us. And I hope that you ask us lots of questions as we go through this day. But while we try and find the dog again, let's head across to Byron.
Oh dear, it sounds like James is having a little bit of a signal issue for the moment. That'll be fixed soon, but I don't mind having you on the back of the vehicle with me. And maybe you can give me a hand at looking for these leopards. I'm driving very, very slowly, also trying to see if I can find any tracks. So looking on the sandy roads, but for the meantime, nothing just yet. And the problem is I keep seeing things in the bush, and my mind makes me think that it is a leopard, but it's not this time. We occasionally convince ourselves that there might be something there when it isn't the case. What do you think, Brian? Good idea to check the water?
Yes, definitely.
Definitely. Let's have a look. The birds seem to be a little bit quiet too. I see a few little birds. A southern black tit is flying around, and a fork-tailed drongo. A bit difficult to focus on. Now I'll see if they sit down for you so I can show you. See, occasionally these little birds, you get a fleeting glimpse and they disappear. So it's difficult to show you what they are. But I will try and look for one. See if we can find you some bird life. Some wonderful birds around this time of the year. So it's in summer, down in South Africa or Southern Africa where we are, the bird life is really, really good, because we also get a lot of birds that migrate, that come back down here during the summer because of the warm weather, the warm climate, and a lot of them do come down and breed down in this area. So they can lay their eggs. The chicks are happy because there's lots of food, lots of insects for most of those birds to feed on. So it's a good time of year for the bird life to be down here. We haven't seen any animals yet, and I think perhaps they're not enjoying the heat as much, so they're probably hiding in the shade of the trees, in the thickets. Jonathan, very, very good question. You want to know what type of food do you eat while on safari? Now, Jonathan, it can vary, but most of the lodges that people book into and go on safari to. So, Carl, some of the birds that we see, some of the smallest birds, now let me show you actually while I think about it. Let me just stop in the shade here and I can show you nicely. We've got little wax bills, and those are some of the smallest little birds that we get out here. And I'll show you a picture of the wax bill first, and then I'll show you exactly how big they are. Okay, so have a look here. That beautiful little bird. Can you see it there? Can't see it. How's that? Cast a shadow. There we go. Beautiful little blue waxbill. Now that tiny little bird's one of the smaller birds that we see around here. Now that little one, if it was sitting next to me, it'd probably only be about that big. So very, very small. Not big at all. We've also got little sunbirds, which are also around that size. So we've got some very small birds, but we also have very large birds. We've got raptors, which we find around here. Now those are birds of prey, like eagles or vultures. Now some of the eagles can get to about this tall if they were standing in front of me, even more. Really, really big, and vultures even taller than that. So we've got some very big birds in the area too. So from that size all the way to those very large eagles, which is great. Hopefully we'll get to show you some eagles a little bit later. We do have quite a few different eagles in this area, so who knows. Just got to keep an eye out for them. Going to scan around here a little bit too, make sure I don't miss anything. No sign of leopards just yet. Coral, you want to know what type of habitat are we in at the moment? So, South Africa, and where we are right down in the southern point of Africa, has got many different types of habitat. We are situated in the northeastern part of South Africa, in the greater Kruger area, and most of it, and this area especially that we are in at the moment, it's known as mixed woodland, or yeah, that would probably be the best term. Mixed woodland vegetation, and we call it this woodland vegetation because of the various trees that we do see around here. We've got a lot of combretum trees. Now this is actually a combretum tree right here. So this mixed woodland does consist a lot of these combretum trees. Now this little one over here is called a red bush willow. And the scientific name is combretum, but the scientific names are very, very difficult. But it's called a bush willow. So mixed woodland is basically correct. So you've got some really large trees, some medium-sized trees, and then a lot of grass around. Now, a lot of the let me just move. Somebody's just coming. A lot of areas you might know as forest areas. Now the reason for that is that forest forest areas are when the canopies of the trees all touch one another. So they've got very, very large trees, but the canopies, the tops of the trees, touch each other, and that'll cover an entire area, and that's a forest. We don't have that out here. The trees are big, but they're spaced out, so it's mixed woodland because the trees are spaced. There's a lot of grass in between them. So I hope that answers your question. Now, my friend Taylor is still out on drive. She has just got to Cheetah Plains. Let's head over to her and see what she's got.
Ooh, hello. So, Rebecca, sorry, I just want to let Rebecca know a little message that the communication is a little bit not wonderful over here, but we've arrived safely at Cheetah Plains. And now Ephraim is a ranger from Cheetah Plains. We are going to search the property. He's searching the southern sector. We're going to check the northern sector towards the east, and there's a beautiful big dam on the east, right on the eastern corner, and hopefully we're going to find maybe something drinking from that beautiful big watering hole, or perhaps maybe we're going to see some really cool birds at that dam too. It's a beautiful one. It's called Buffalo Dam. Maybe we even get lucky enough to see the odd buffalo, because we haven't been seeing many buffalo around over the last few days. David, we go this way? Yes, we do go this way. I have to just check with David because he knows these roads very, very well. So we're now just going to stick all the way on the boundary and head all the way down this side. And it's been very quiet. We haven't even seen any... Oh, hang on. Look at what we've got. Don't run away. Don't run away. Finally. Now this is one of the smallest antelope that we see in this area. Let me go forward a little bit so we can catch up to it. It's called not a common daker, that is another antelope. We're looking at a Steenbok at the moment. There he is, but he's very shy. There he is. And I can tell that he's a boy because he's got two little horns on top of his head. And you can see he's very quick. And he's able to leap and bound away. Now he's a little bit nervous of us because he is so small. He's one of the smallest prey species out here for a lot of the big cats, which can cause, well, I think a lot of trouble for that little antelope. So when they feel threatened, they often run away like that, bounding, leaping around different trees, and then they will sit down in the grass. And because they're so small, they completely disappear, and then you can't see them anymore, and that's what they hope will happen to a predator. So that's a nice little antelope to start the day off, and hopefully we will see some more of them. But typically when you see the little Steenbok and the common daker, which is the antelope that's just a little bit bigger than that one and more grey in colour, not sort of that rust colour like the Steenbok is. And but it's normally a quick view, I suppose, so you've got to make sure you're watching all the time and are very, very vigilant. Let's see what else we've got around here. We're going to keep going, making our way to that beautiful big water source known as Buffalo Dam. Apparently James has got something with feathers to show you this afternoon.
There's a very little bird sitting up in this tree over here, and I'm going to see if we can spot it. It's called a rattling cisticola. It goes when it sees anything that it thinks wants to eat it, like a leopard or a African wildcat or a genet or something like that. We'll see if we can't make it come out here. If you want to get a bird to come out, you make that sound. I don't think it's here anymore. Now, Soleil, you're wondering if birds camouflage themselves out here. Yes, they absolutely do. They're almost always very well coloured, but some of them are like the lilac-breasted roller, which we'll try and show you a bit later. Very bright. They've got 7 different colours: purple and lilac and bright blue and white. But this one here, the rattling cisticola, is what we call an LBJ. An LBJ stands for Little Brown Job, which basically means that he's almost impossible to see and very difficult to identify what he is. But because I've been here for some time, I know what he is. But he's gone now. Anyway, let's keep going, see what else we can find. While we're on foot, it's a really nice opportunity for us to look at some smaller things. So, like this beautiful flower here. And this one is called a hibiscus. Now, many of you will know these from, perhaps some of you have been to Hawaii, or you've seen pictures of Hawaii. Of course, it's a state in America. Not in America so much, but just off America. And they get lots of hibiscus plants there. And all the way here in South Africa, we get the same thing. It's just a slightly different kind. See the hibiscus? There we go. I think this one's closed because it's probably very hot for the hibiscus and probably stays open only when it's cooler. Nice. Ooh, I found something else. This is my favourite thing. See there? Look at that. Can you see there? Look at that. That's an ant. And it's a special kind of ant, and he doesn't want to sit still. I'll see if I can catch him and stop him moving. He's very clever. Oh, there we go. I got him. Hello, Carson. You're wondering what the temperature is right now. Carson, the temperature is about probably 91 degrees Fahrenheit. Can you see this ant there? If you look just between the abdomen, that's the back bit here, and the thorax, which is the next bit, there are the spikes. Can you see those spikes? It's very difficult to see, but that's how we know what he is. Now, you can eat these ants, believe it or not. Shall I eat him? I didn't eat him. I have eaten one before, and they taste like little lemon drops. The abdomen tastes like lemon drops because they've got an acid in there. It's quite nice, but I feel bad. So put him back on the hibiscus plant. Off he goes. Interesting. Come, let's carry on. Now, we were hoping to find an elephant through here. We did see one a little bit earlier, and when you first saw us and we were standing there with the warthog, we hoped that there would be an elephant drinking at that pan, but there wasn't one. So we're going to walk down here and see if we can't find the not the warthog, to try and find the elephant. Byron, however, has got a very, very shaggy looking creature to show you.
They are shaggy indeed, James. Beautiful antelope. The Waterbuck. And these are two young males. Have a look at that. Beautiful grey shaggy coats. Oh, isn't that wonderful? Look at them. Now, they're easy to identify because of that very white ring around the rump. Can you see them? Jonathan, you want to know where the animals get their water from. And as I said, I was going to head to one of the dams or water holes, hopefully see some animals and have a look here. That's where we are. So the animals are moving down to the water. These waterbuck have come down, it looks like, to potentially drink. I'm going to reposition soon, but this is all filled up from the rain that we've had. So Jonathan, these dams that as we call them, they fill up from all the rain that we've had, and that's where the animals are able to find water. Aren't they beautiful? They look almost like reindeer, don't they? However, they are antelope, so very different. So, Lahe, you want to know if we've got paved roads in this area? Not where we are, no, not at all. They are all dirt roads. So that is why we've got 4x4 vehicles that we use. It's easier for us to get around, and if we have to drive off-road, then it helps us if we are following animals like lions and leopards. Raven, this animal is called a waterbuck. Now, the waterbuck gets its name because they are generally very reliant on water, which means they do need a lot of water to drink, and usually they are found close to the water. You can see that grey coat also probably helps him with camouflage. I know James was chatting about it earlier. Different animals have camouflage, but that grey coat probably helps him blend into the thickets and the grey bark of the trees, especially in winter. probably very, very well. And aren't they wonderful? So nice to see them. There's a few down at the water's edge. Let's see if they do decide to drink. I wonder what they're looking for over there. I would assume that they've purely gone down there to drink. Let's see what happens. But animals, when they do go to drink at water, they're very, very careful. Because when they put their heads down to drink, they can be vulnerable. That means if there are predators around, then it could be potentially dangerous for them because they might not see the predators coming. So they're always very, very careful if they get close to water. And there might be predators hiding in the water. And do any of you know what that predator might be that they might find in dams or waterholes? We don't have any in this waterhole, but they do occur in rivers and in other bigger dams. So if any of you know what animal that might be, please let me know. And I'll tell you shortly if you are correct. Ava, you wanted to know what animals have I seen from this morning. Now, I'll answer that now. Just as those waterbuck move away, I'm going to reposition, and we'll try to drive around and see what else we can find. Now, Ava, this morning, James and Taylor were quite lucky. They, I think, was it James who got to see? No, Taylor got to see leopards this morning. What did I see this morning? Sure. I didn't see too much, actually, now that I think about it. Oh, I know why. It's because I was on the bushwalk. We did see some impala, but I saw some really interesting little insects. Saw a few moths, saw some termites. So I got to see some really small stuff. Just like what James might be looking for this afternoon. And I know he saw some ants earlier, but there were some other animals around. And yesterday afternoon, I got to see some elephant, a young elephant bull, which I'm hoping to find again today. Not the same one, but just some elephant. I love elephant. They're one of my favorite animals. I do enjoy seeing them around. So hopefully we'll be able to find some for you. And different antelope species. The Impala, the Nyala, which is another antelope that we do get in this area. They are really, really beautiful. Let me show you a picture of the Nyala quickly. Let me just find it. Here we go. Now let me just stop in the shade here again. Brian likes the shade, otherwise it's very, very hot. And it's a bit easier to show you stuff in the book. Here the Nyala that we saw earlier. Very beautiful females over here. And have a look at how different the male looks. That's the male Nyala. Hopefully I'll be able to find some of them for you. There are a lot around in this area, so maybe we get to see some of those too. Now Ezekiel, you want to know, how is it that the animals all get along in this area? Well, that's not always the case. Now, I say that because you can imagine lions and leopards obviously don't get along well with the antelope. Well, they do in terms of it's their food, so they try and hunt them. So the lions will move around through areas, especially in the evenings, trying to hunt a lot of different animals, like all the antelope species we have, like Waterbuch, the Impala, the Nyala, all the way up to large animals like big buffalo that they would try and hunt. Don't forget, leopards would also hunt animals like Impala and that. So the predators would not get along with the animals at all. However, these other species of antelope that we've seen around, like the Waterbuck, the Impala, the Nyala, they will tolerate one another because they are all herbivores, which means they all feed on the same vegetation, whether it be the grass or leaves off trees. So those animals will constantly move around in the same areas, and they don't mind each other at all because there's no danger and there's no threat from any of those animals. Ooh, Soleil, your answer's close. You're close. You're on the right track about what animals would be hiding in the water. So I was saying they would hunt the animals. It's not alligators, Soleil. but very similar. It's crocodiles. Now, let me just get through here quickly. So, Soleil, in Africa we don't have alligators, not at all. We only have crocodiles. Now, crocodiles tend to get a little bit bigger. The Nile crocodile, which is the species that we find in Africa, very, very large, very powerful predators, and they would be lurking in that water, waiting for animals to come and drink that they can potentially ambush and try and catch. But in this area and in that little dam where we were now, there are no crocodiles around there. But there are some other spots that do have crocodiles, some of the rivers and some of the bigger dams that have permanent water. So the animals do have to be careful. But very good guess. You were on the right track, Soleil. Well done. Strawbridge, you'd like to know what time is it here? Now it's our afternoon, and it is exactly it's almost 20 to 5 in the afternoon. So almost 20 to 5 in the afternoon, and that is why it's so very, very warm. It's a beautiful afternoon, but it will start cooling down a little bit later as the sun starts dropping and setting. Hopefully we get a wonderful sunset for you this afternoon. And Dina wants to know what I do for my job. What does it entail? Well, yeah, it's Safari Live, Dina. We take our morning and afternoon safaris, sunrise and sunset safaris, and we show the rest of the world what a live safari is like. I also have another job, which I actually take people on safaris. So people come out and they visit Africa and they want to go on a safari and look for animals, and I take them and do that for them. So I'll drive them around in the game reserves, in the national parks or in the private game reserves, and we look for animals, and I teach them about nature, about wildlife, and about everything that we see out here, and then hopefully help them get some wonderful photographs and memories of the animals that they see. Everyone, look at this. Look at this. Look at this. I spoke about them earlier. Hang on a second. I'm just going to go around the corner. I'm just speaking about the different antelope we get, and have a look here. There are Impala as well as Nyala, but there's the female Nyala that I just showed you, and with the younger one, and then this one on the right hand side with the little horns, that is an Impala. So we've got two different species of antelope. That goes back to, I think it was Ezekiel's question about how do the animals get along, or which animals get along. And look at this, we've got two different species of antelope together, happily feeding. And they don't mind each other at all. But there we go, we got to see the Nyala, that's wonderful, as well as the Impala. And look, that Impala's got some grass in its mouth. And Alice, you've just asked exactly what this antelope is doing. What do all of them eat? So Alice, we have antelopes. Basically, the antelope are put into two categories. Either grazers, which means they eat grass, just like this Impala is doing at the moment, or browsers, which means that they feed off trees, leaves off trees. You also have mixed feeders, which is actually what the Impala feeds, or what the Impala is, which means they'll eat grass and the leaves off the trees, depending on the time of year. But the antelope, all antelope species, are only herbivores, which means they only eat plant material, so grass or leaves. Ah, lovely. Very nice to see them. Wasn't that nice? Good to see the Nyala and the Impala together. Now, my very brave friend is still walking around. Let's head over to him and see what he's found.
There we go. Like I said to you, we're going to be looking at the smaller things, and there are two small things here. Firstly, this beautiful flower, and if I pick a leaf, I don't know if you can imagine feeling the softest kind of cotton that you've ever felt in your life. Imagine your softest clothes, or maybe a blanket when you're really cold at night, and the soft, snuggly feeling that gives you. That's the same as this leaf. It's so soft. And it's called a flannel weed because of that, because it feels like flannel. Then, all of these flowers are sitting here, and you might wonder to yourself, why is it that they're this color? Why would they be this color? And it's not just to look pretty, it's because they attract different things that will come and take out the pollen. Can you see the pollen there? That's the yellow bit inside the yellow flower. And that pollen will be taken to another flower by things called vectors. Can you all say that? A vector. And the vector, in this case, is probably an ant. When we got here, I did see an ant crawling around on the flower, and I'm sure that there's another. Here we go. There's a little stingless bee. Look, there's a little stingless bee there. Can you see it? That's a little bee, and it's pollinating, so maybe it's not ants, maybe it's pollinated by these little bees, tiny little bee. And Mrs. Jones's class, you ought to know what my favorite animal is that right? Well, I've got to tell you, my favorite animal is something called a wild dog. And a wild dog is like the wolf of Africa. But it looks like it's run through a paint factory. It's covered in black and brown and white patterns. And they're very, very unusual. So you can hardly see where the dog starts and where it begins. And so that's my favorite animal, and I like them because they're nice to each other. Many of the animals out here are not very nice to each other. For example, lions, they're not nice to each other at all. They fight all the time, they never share their food, they don't look after sick lions. But the wild dogs, they are fantastic. They look after each other. If there's an old one or a sick one or an injured one, then they'll look after it. And so that's why I like wild dogs very much. Now, Mrs. Ward's class, you're wondering what is the most prevalent animal here. In other words, what animal most of? Well, you've already seen that animal, and it's called, have you? That is the most common animal. It is an antelope, which is a little bit like a deer, but not quite. We're just walking down quite a difficult spot here, so we're going to walk a little bit slower, and I'm going to show you something that many animals can't eat. Here, we have something called the marula, not the marula, the tambuti. Can you see that white? See that? That white stuff there is very, very poisonous. So if I was to eat, I'd probably throw up, and I'd probably get quite bad diarrhea. But if you eat enough of it, it can actually kill you. So this is a poisonous plant, and it's very important that even if you're not in the wilderness in Africa, if you go out into the wilderness where you live, you must be very careful of what you eat. Okay, it's very important that you don't just put anything in your mouth. Now, Byron has got some creatures that are a bit like me and you.
Now this one's just hiding in the bushes, James, but I'm hoping it comes out soon. There are a few of them around. Just hang on, everybody. They are a bit like you and me, or James and you, or James and me. Let's see, it's not coming out there. Hang on, there's another few off to my right. And just over here, Brian, I wonder if you can see straight through there. Let's see if he stays still. There we go. It's a baboon, everybody. Look at that. Wonderful. He's having a good look at us and a scratch. Oh, great. There they go. And they're foraging for food, and baboons will eat just about anything, from plant material to fruit to insects, even meat. If they manage to find it, they will. Mrs. Inch's class, you would like to know what is the most dangerous animal on safari. I'm just watching these baboons are moving off, it looks like it. Yeah, oh, there they go. Now, Mrs. Inch's class, to be honest, it's very hard to say, because generally animals are not, what's the best way of putting this? And I don't want to paint a bad picture about animals, but generally animals are not dangerous unless they feel threatened or they feel like they need to protect themselves. So generally animals would try to stay away from us, and they would move away because to them we look like predators. So they're actually more scared of us than we are of them. However, if you were walking through the bush and you did come into a situation where you made an animal feel threatened, I'd say some of the more dangerous animals, or potentially dangerous animals, sorry, there's a fly buzzing around me at the moment, but I would say probably hippopotamus in the water, because a lot of the time if people go down close to the water and they try and look for water or food close to those areas, the hippo are always around and maybe possibly feeding on the grass in the area, and if they feel threatened they will protect themselves. They've got huge mouths, very big teeth, and they can cause some serious damage. Listen, you hear that? Let's see if they do that again. Those were the baboons, everyone. Listen, there we go. I wonder if they've seen something, or if they're just busy alarm calling for, maybe just shouting at one another. Isn't that an interesting sound? Bah-ho, bah-ho. A baboon. Other potentially dangerous animals would be crocodile. You're speaking about the hippo close to the water, the crocodiles too. You know, lions and leopards, look, if they do feel threatened, and if you do follow them and don't listen to their warnings or stay away from them, then you do have to be very careful of those animals. But generally, in my experience, they do move away from you. Listen. Oh, those baboons, every now and then they give off the bark. Mrs. Inch's class, you also want to know, what do crocodiles eat? Now, crocodiles will feed on just about anything that comes down to drink. So any animal that comes down to drink at the water's edge could potentially be food for the crocodiles. They'll even feed on fish and that they find in the water. I've seen that many times. But anything that comes down to drink is potential food. So all the antelope species, I've even seen footage of crocodiles trying to catch elephant, which is obviously very, very difficult and highly unlikely. But I've seen them go for elephant when the trunk is in the water. But usually the crocodile gets thrown around a bit. But that does not happen often. Usually the crocodile realizes that that's too big for it and moves on. Anyway, let's continue. Strawbridge Elementary, you want to know what is the difference between a monkey and a baboon? So I'm going to show you pictures of the two, so you can get an idea of. They look different. The size is different. What they feed on is slightly different too. And I'm just going to look for some shade so I can stop and show you properly. I'm still in search of other animals though. Hang on a second. Let's just see. There's very little shade at the moment. Now the main difference between what they feed on, now baboons, as I said, will feed on just about anything from fruit, grass shoots, roots. They'll even feed on other animals. I've seen big male baboons catch young Impala lambs, so they do feed on meat too. Now monkeys generally would feed on mostly insects and fruit, and a lot of fruit and grass shoots and that, so very different to the baboons. The baboons have a far wider range of food that they will feed on. I'm just going to stop over here and I'll show you the difference and how they look. Now the baboons are also much larger than monkeys. Now in this area we have, those were the Savannah baboon, or just we refer to them as baboons, the only baboon species we have in this area. And you see that, very large baboons. You got to see them moving around, and then I'll just turn the page and show you what the vervet monkeys look like. Now these are the monkey species, or this is the monkey species that we see. Isn't that little one very cute? These are much smaller, and I'll show you a size comparison shortly. But this is the vervet monkey, much smaller than the baboons. And look at those beautiful black faces. You can see the coloration is also different. These are almost a grayish color, light gray, very light underneath, whereas those baboons were that very dark gray. You can see the difference there, very dark brown gray color, and much larger. So in terms of size, let me show you quickly. The baboons, some of the baboons, if they were sitting, a big male baboon sitting next to me, would be, it's a bit difficult to, I can't get my arms that wide. So very big, about this size. If he was sitting next to me, even bigger. And then the vervet monkeys are only about that big. Maybe a big male is about that. So half the size of a baboon, if not smaller. So they're much smaller than the baboons. Right, we're still in search of our leopards. I haven't given up just yet. Hopefully we're going to find them at some point. Maybe. Brian says maybe the baboon was alarm calling at one of the leopards. You never know. It seems to have stopped now and is quiet. So maybe it just saw one walk in the distance. Who knows? I'm not too sure, but we're going to keep looking around this area. Soleil, I was chatting about the eagles earlier, and you want to know something about the eagles. Do we have bald eagles here? We don't, Soleil, not at all. But we do have an eagle that looks like a bald eagle. I'm going to show you a picture of one. I'll just get my book out. Now, the bald eagle is only found in North America as far as I'm aware. We don't have them out here. But like I said, we do have an eagle that looks like the bald eagle. Let me just see if I can find it for you quickly. I'm again going to stop in the shade. It's actually good to stop like this, because what I do is I'll also listen if there are any alarm calls again, maybe from the baboon or from the antelope that are around this area. Maybe they spot the leopard before we do, and they can help us find them. Now, Soleil, getting back to your question, have a look at this. This is the African fish eagle. Now, do you see that? It looks similar to the bald eagle, but is not a bald eagle at all. That is the African fish eagle. So that looks similar, but it's a bit smaller and slightly different to the bald eagle. All right, now thank you very much to all the kids from Lynnhaven and Strawbridge, all the classes watching. Thank you. It's wonderful to have you on Safari Live with us. We'll hopefully see you again soon. So goodbye, everybody, and we'll see you all on Safari Live soon.
Hello everybody, I think we're live. with the drone. Right, there we are. You can see a 360-degree view there of the area to the southeast of the Gowrie repeater. It's one of the best views that you have here at Djuma. And off to the far east, you can see the vast expanse of the Greater Kruger National Park. And as Connor swings west, perhaps the mountain tops tipped with a little bit of cloud. As the wind starts to get up a little bit this afternoon, it is the most beautiful afternoon. And apparently there's a bird in view now. Now, Connor's had some wonderful experiences with white-backed vultures, and there's a bird apparently flying straight towards the drone. That's a little bit scary. The white-backed vultures tend to ignore the drone, which is quite nice, but the battaliers and eagles tend to get a little bit irritated with it, so Connor's had to beat a hasty retreat every so often. I hope he's not having to do that now. Anyway, we've got some amazing shots of some vultures, so we will be publishing very soon a Safari Live story about the drone, and you'll see some of the highlights. Amazing shots that Connor's got of vultures in the air, as well as all of the aerial shots of where we operate, and of course the amazing shots that he's got of those eagles sitting in trees. I have just spotted a jewel beetle. It's got nothing to do with anything you can see. Come over here, everybody. Syncolosteinum bracteosus. I'll explain that just now. Syncolosteinum bracteosus. Judy H., that one's for you. Syncolosteinum bracteosus. Can you see it there, Craigus? Just at the top there, there's a jewel beetle. A gorgeous jewel beetle, shining in what is becoming the late afternoon sun. Gosh, that really is very special indeed. Isn't he lovely? You got him there, Craig? Yeah. What kind of jewel beetle he is, I don't know. Has he flown off?
He's just gone around the side.
He's gone around the side, has he? What a nasty blighter. Can you still see him? Oh, I can just see him. Let me move around this way and see if I can't inspire him to come towards you. Come on, little jewel beetle. There we are. He should be back around now. You got him there?
Yeah.
Isn't that gorgeous? I think that's marvellous. Now, he was sitting at about eye level when we first came here. And I'm not sure what kind of jewel beetle he is, but he's very, very spectacular. Marvellous. Okay. Judy H., we have been talking about this wild basil plant, and I have found no reference to it being called wild basil anywhere. But I did, however, find it in a book, and the book named it Syncolosteinus bracteosus. Syncolosteinus bracteosus. You wanted to know the Latin name, Judy H., and that's what it is. Syncolosteinus bracteosus. It absolutely smells like basil, but I can't find any reference to it in a book. And so we're just going to call it Syncolosteinus bracteosus. And in order to remember that, of course, I will have to say it repeatedly throughout the drive, Syncolosteinus bracteosus. On we go. Goodbye, jewel beetle. And do remember the name of this plant. It is Syncolosteinus bracteosus. Excellent. On we go. Herbert, what's this plant called? That's it, Syncolosteinus bracteosus. Herbert and I have both been struggling immensely to remember the name of this plant during the course of the walk, and we've now said it each 384 times. Now we're heading down this way because there are some pans not too far from here. It is a hot afternoon, sitting at about 93 degrees Fahrenheit. Whew. And with any luck there'll be something coming down to drink. That cross little elephant who's been knocking about quarantine clearings, well, we did see him at the very beginning of the drive, and then he disappeared, and I think he's gone in search of some marulas, and perhaps he will pop back towards quarantine clearings towards the evening to chase his wildebeest herd that he doesn't seem to, well, he seems to play with him quite a lot. What have you got there, Herbert? Herbert has found a leaf. Now, whether he is gathering this for supper or whether he wishes to tell us something about it, I cannot be sure. What do you wish to tell us, Herbert?
Just want to make something.
You want to make something? Okay. He says, I must carry on waffling. He's going to make something. That's excellent. Okay, well, we'll let Herbert make his thing. And we'll talk about some grasses in the meantime. Oh, you see, every time you stop, there's something amazing. Just watch the end of this spike here. There's another bee or a fly. No, it's a fly. You see the fly there? It's landed on the edge of one of the branches here. Oh, it's flown off. No, it hasn't. It's still there. It's one of these hovering flies. Can you see the end of the grass? Okay, here's the grass. I'm going to just let you follow the grass in. You following it?
Yeah.
Okay, follow the grass. Now the grass is going to go to the right. And on the branch to the right of this one is the little fly. You got him? You got him there?
Yeah, there you go.
Well done.
But I can't.
You can't quite get him.
Yeah.
There we are. Well done. Now that little fly, everybody, is a hover fly. It's a hovering fly. I know it's a fly because it's only got two wings. So it's only got the four wings. The hind wings are much smaller and almost totally vestigial. In other words, they're not used really for flight. And all the flies have only got two useful wings. And this one looks quite old because its wings are in some state. They look like they've been lacerated. What a gorgeous little fly. Black and white. And with a long proboscis. I think that it probably uses to eat nectar. Must be. That is astounding. Now, come over here. Tony, while we wait to see what Herbert has set up for us here, I'm deeply suspicious. Somebody said jewel beetles were used as jewels. How do they preserve them? They keep the elytra, they keep the exoskeleton. So basically you would, I suppose, stick something like a hypodermic needle up into it and then suck the guts out. Otherwise, you just let them dry in the sun and eventually the guts kind of either evaporates or I don't know what happens to it, or they go hard, basically. And they're entirely preservable. They don't smell bad, and I suppose you could put them on a necklace if you so wished. Right, Herbert, what are we looking at here? What that is. Is it a trap?
Pick it up.
Pick it up. All right. Now, Herbert has told me that he's not telling us, that's you and me, what this is. I'm going to show it to you. And it's a plant called the mother-in-law's tongue. And the mother-in-law's tongue here has been somehow employed to make a device of some sort. What device this is, Herbert, I hope, is going to tell us. If you would like to know what this device is, well, he would insist that you have a guess. So hashtag Safari Live. Tell us what you think this is, and Herbert will tell us in about 10 minutes. 10 minutes he'll tell us. Apparently that's the angle at which it is used. Maybe it's a tray to carry marula fruits. I don't know. 10 minutes, we'll find out. We'll carry on. I'll keep it with me. Thank you, Herbert, for making me look like an idiot in front of all of our viewers. Right. Byron is still in search of a heartbeat. I'm going to ponder the inexorable mysteries of what it is that Herbert has constructed. Send through your answers, hashtag Safari Live, and while you think about it, you can chat to Byron.
And while James is pondering away, we are still searching. And no luck just yet, but it is still warm. And I think as I always say, it's too soon to panic. It's a warm afternoon. If these leopards are around, they're probably lying in the shade somewhere. So what we're going to do is we're going to move out the area, search for other animals, and then come back a little bit later. But I've had no sign of them at all yet. And that's again just assuming that they're still in the area. They could possibly have moved off, especially if the kill is finished, gone in search for water. But at the moment, because of all the rain we've had, there's water everywhere. There are lovely little pans and little ponds. Now speaking of water and animals at water, Taylor's got huge animals in the water to show you.
have a look at this. We have got a herd of elephants who are swimming. It is a hot day. This is what we were hoping for. Isn't this amazing? I haven't seen swimming elephants since I've started working here. And you can see, David, the ones on the left, there's two actually wrestling. Can you see them in the middle? There we go. Just in front of the big one. Those two over there are wrestling each other. The smaller one that's closest to us is trying to push, most likely, its older sibling around. And they love water. That every single time I see elephants in water, they are the happiest. Now we're at a little pan. I have no idea what it's called, but we're just on the boundary of Gowrie, Maine, and we're just in Chitwa. I'm not sure what this little pan is called, but look how excited they are. Now they're running out. Someone's obviously told them they have to leave now. Hello guys, something's given them a bit of a fright. You can hear them all trumpeting. They're a little bit unsettled. I'm not sure what has startled them like this, because they were very, very happy in here. But as quick as they were swimming around and having the time of their life, they're now moving across the road and off they go. Short and sweet, I suppose. And there's a number of them now. That's a lovely herd, eh, David? How many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I think there's about 10 or 11 elephants here. So it's a lovely and a normal sized breeding herd of elephants. But how crazy is that? As quick as that happened, they're now off. They seem to be changing direction. I think they're going to cross back out into Gowrie, Maine. Let's reverse. Let's see if we can get another look at them. Now, that's quite bizarre that they've moved away like that, because they were very happy in the water, splashing around, swimming. Whether one of them picked up the scent of something that they didn't quite like, maybe they heard something, and the matriarch sort of said, no, we're not hanging around here anymore. We better get going. And that's a pity, because they were having an absolute ball of a time. But let's see if we can catch them just over here. They look like they might come out and cross over the road again. Like I said, we're sort of between Torchwood now and Chitwa. I just need to jump onto the radio very quickly. My brothers in Glove have now moved away from the pan and are mobile in an easterly direction, parallel just in Chitwa, just from Chitwa driveway, parallel with Gowrie, Maine. It's just myself here. There's about 11 in Ndlovu. Here they are. And they're coming towards us very, very slowly. And look, now they look all settled again. And it's very good that they do swim, especially on hot days like this, and especially after all of the rain, because all the insect populations would have been booming as well. So there's lots of ticks around at the moment. We're all being bitten by pepper ticks. And by covering themselves in mud, not only does it keep them nice and cool, but it also suffocates all of those ectoparasites that could be, attempting to feast on the blood of these elephants, and they'll be picking them up through all of the long grass. And also, those biting flies are terrible at this time of the year. Now I'm looking around, just trying to see who else is here. And you can still see they're a little bit on edge. They're still moving quickly out of the area. And Zoe, hello to you, actually asking this afternoon, could it have perhaps been that there's a rowdy elephant bull maybe in the area? Definitely, 110% there could be a big bull and must, and we have seen a bull and must around this area, so it's quite possible, and that would definitely be enough to startle these elephants, because a bull and must is a big boisterous boy, and he'll push all of the little ones around, and obviously the female elephants don't enjoy that one little bit. Hello, girl. You can see she's just smelling us. You see how she's twisted her trunk? She's tilting her head towards us. It's okay, big girl. What are you picking up? She's smelling. She keeps twisting her trunk around, though. She's definitely smelling something, whether it's us. Now she's changing direction. Look how panicked they all are getting again. That little calf is trying to suckle. That is the equivalent of a child throwing a tantrum in the shopping market when mom says no to sweets. That's basically what mom is saying to that little elephant, is saying, no, you are too old to suckle. That's for your younger sibling. But it's actually taking a chance. Very sneaky little elephant. So that was just an unhappy youngster. But normally elephants don't make too much noise. They do a bit of rumbling here and there, of course, for communication. And a lot of it we aren't able to hear because they're communicating mainly through infrasound. So these low, very, very low rumblings. And they've got sensory sort of nerves in their feet, so they're able to hear it. They'll pick up those vibrations through the ground. And then they're able to translate it to, well, what they can understand. But I wonder if they come across another little pan, if they'll pop on into it, because I don't think that they were quite finished with their little bath that they were having. Sometimes elephants will spend an hour swimming around. But I don't know if there's going to be much water left in that pan after these Ellies had gotten hold of it. And I wish that they would go and swim in twin dams, because that's such a beautiful big pan now, and I think it would have quite a nice amount of water in. But off they go. They're now disappearing far into the thicket, and unfortunately there are no roads that I think we're going to be able to catch up with them on. Wasn't that amazing? That was really lovely, I think. And I'm glad we got to see them swimming as quick as what it was. I'm sure that all put a smile on your face. David and I are grinning from ear to ear. But we're going to head back onto Djuma, and we're going to keep checking the watering holes. And while we do that, let's go across to Byron and see if he's having any luck with those spotted cats.
That's lovely, Taylor. Well done. So nice to see those elephants playing in the water. Oh, hang on. Sit. There's a cuckoo, everyone. It looked like a cuckoo, and I just saw a quick glimpse of it. Hold on. Let's see. Did it sit? It may also have been a wood hoopoe. No. Oh, you know what it is? There it goes. It's a scimitar bull. Oh dear, it just flew off. I'll show you a picture of one quickly. It was a scimitar bull, common scimitar bull. Let me show you a nice picture of one. We're still in search of any leopard activity, or any big cats for that matter. No luck just yet, but we're driving around now, seeing what else we can find. I was hoping to find elephant. I'm actually very jealous that Taylor found those elephant, but whatever. Let me just show you that scimitar bull quickly. Common scimitar bull. There we go. Let me show you. There we go. That's it. Beautiful bird. Just caught a glimpse of it flying and saw that white barring under the tail. Looked almost like a cuckoo that was flying, but it's a scimitar bull. Very different. Look at that long curved beak. It helps it to catch insects. Beautiful bird. So that was nice to see. Just a quick glimpse of it. They're not usually in big flocks. Usually one or two flying around, and that was a solitary one. I don't see any others around, and they were just flying off there. Nice to see that one. There's white-browed scrub robins, very melodious call all around at the moment. A lot of them in this area. And it's James's favourite call, or one of James's favourite. Lauren, you know, we don't have, or actually we do have ostriches in the Greater Kruger area. I haven't seen an ostrich on Djuma yet, not yet, but we do get them occasionally, and I know down on Cheetah Plains I think there have been ostriches seen down there, but I haven't seen an ostrich here yet, not while I've been at Safari Live, but I have seen in this in the Sabi Sands, in fact, I've seen ostriches just south on Londolozi. I saw a few ostriches down there, so we do get them in the area, and occasionally they do come through, but I haven't seen one on Djuma yet. Woodland kingfishers calling in the distance too. Now, while I'm in search of larger animals or birds, James has found a small winged creature. Let's see what it is.
It's a yellow pansy, and it's just posing so nicely at the moment. It's having a drink at this little watering hole for butterflies, and I can see a small elephant dung, so also for elephant dungs, at least for small elephants, not elephant dungs. But it's a little microcosm, a little beautiful sort of patch of coolth, I suppose, in the heat. A tiny little waterhole, about, about 3 feet wide by 2 feet. And in it there are butterflies and water boatmen and little water beetles and algae and possibly a tiny terrapin or two. And this tiny little patch of coolth and moisture has created an entirely sort of self-sufficient ecosystem, if you like, which I think is quite sweet. Scott, you were absolutely correct. This is a flip-flop. It is a child's flip-flop. It is a brilliant condition, and it can also be used if you happen to stick fight as a small child. That is brilliant stuff.
Okay. Dear, what tracks have we got here? Hang on a second, what was that? Welcome back. I've just seen some tracks here. Give me a second, let's see what this is. It is a misi, which is the Shangaan word for hyena. It was a hyena track that we saw. And it looks like actually from last night. Walked all along the road here, just double checking myself. I don't want to miss anything. Definitely a hyena track. Unfortunately, it's not very clear. I would have liked to have shown it to you, but it's in some soft sand, so you often just see like this bit of a smudge of a track, and it's not as clear. But generally, if you've been tracking for a while, you can tell a hyena track very easily, and you can recognize it very easily, rather, as opposed to any of the big cats like lion or leopard. Let's see if we can find some interesting birds around here. I'm scanning the trees to see if there's any bird of prey that we might be able to see. Don't see anything just yet. Some beautiful big trees. You know what we should actually do? Let's also try to find some ripe marulas. Let's see if we can find some ripe marulas. I'm going to look around, get some vitamin C, get some more energy. Do they give you energy? I don't know. Maybe it's all a mind game. Oh, stop. Hang on. There's a beautiful lilac-breasted roller, everyone. Let's see if he has stopped for us. No, there he goes. Hang on. Oh, he's sitting at the top of this dead branch. Give me a second. I hope he doesn't fly. You might get a glimpse of... Oh, no, there he flies. Sit there. Sit in the sun. Oh no. He couldn't land there. He flew into the tree and couldn't land. Oh, dear. Where did he go? Oh, he's gone. Unfortunately, a lilac-breasted roller. Now, just have a look at these doves in the road, everyone. And Horen, I'll get to your question now about the biggest birds in the area. But have a look at those beautiful Cape turtle doves. Now, this always reminds me, whenever I see them in the road and flying straight down the road like this, it reminds me of my good friend Judas, who was a tracker that I used to work with. We spent about 5 years working together. And the reason why it reminds me of him is because whenever we were driving guests, and he'd be sitting on the front of the vehicle, and we'd see Cape turtle doves in the road, and then what they would do is either walk straight in front of us or fly straight down the road in front of us for a while and then veer off somewhere. And whenever that happened, he would say, oh, that's very good luck, we're probably going to have a good sighting. So let's see there, and you see they're flying straight down the road and then they veer off Who knows? Maybe it's good luck. Let's see. Now, Ren, getting back to your question about the largest birds in the area. And you're right, the martial eagle. Did you see something? A black-bellied bustard. Oh, there he is. Well spotted, Brian. Let's have a look. There's a bird on the ground. There it is. Moving through there. Looks like a female black-bellied bustard. Now, getting back to the question on the largest birds in the area, and as that bustard disappears in the grass. Lovely to see it. They're well spotted, Brian. The martial eagles are one of the largest in the area, but then of course you've got vultures, which are bigger, marabou storks, which are much larger, Goliath herons. All of those birds are much larger, much taller. But in terms of the wingspan, and that vultures would probably have the largest wingspan. The leopard-faced vulture. Now that is probably one of the largest. Now I'm just trying to think. Now, for the life of me, I can't remember. I'm going to quickly have a look at something. I'm just trying to think if I've seen a Kori bustard in this area. No, I can't remember. Just give me a second. I'll show you what the Kori bustard looks like. It's the heaviest flying bird in Africa. It's huge, massive. Let's see if I can find it. I'll show you a picture of it, and I'm just trying to think. I know I definitely haven't seen it in this area or in Djuma, but I have seen on Londolozi, so just south of here. Now this is the Kori bustard. Have a look at that bird. Let's see. Hopefully is the lights okay, Brian? There we go. Now look at that. Now that is the heaviest flying bird. And I'll give you the weight shortly, but it is very big, and it has a huge wingspan. That is a beautiful bird, the Kori bustard. And let me just show you quickly. Let me quickly get the weight for you, but almost 13 kilograms males, so over 12 kilograms, which is, what's that, 30 pounds, about 30, what's it, no, kilograms, yeah, it's about 30 pounds or so, call it that, somewhere around there. Now, if I was, let me just try to stretch here quickly, if I was next to the Kori bustard, and it was on the dash, or actually just below the dash, so if my hand is over there, that Kori bustard is probably about this tall. It's a huge bird, heaviest flying bird, and we do get them, we do see them occasionally in the area. I have seen in the Sabi Sands before. Sure. It is scorching. Very hot afternoon. Some of my friends all over the world, especially up in the United States, I know some of you are getting snow at the moment. Some friends in Chicago are getting snow this morning. I must be honest, I'm a little jealous. I love this wonderful warmth that we have, but we're not used to snow, so hopefully at some point I'll get to see some snow again. I've only seen snow once, proper snow, and that was very young in Europe. Never been skiing though, so that's on my bucket list. I wonder if I'd be able to find any wildlife while I'm skiing. Okay, now, and Taylor has left that area, I think, where the elephant are, but let's see where she is and what she's found.
Byron, don't worry about us. We're not getting ourselves lost today. We are on our way towards Buffelshoek Dam, and we're not too far away now. I'm starting to see the big dead trees in the far distance, which must mean that we are getting closer, and I'm hoping we're going to be, well, as lucky as what we were when we were at that previous pan with all those swimming elephants. But I'm not sure what we're going to see. David has said that we're probably going to see some terrapins, and I have a strong feeling that he's probably correct. I think the largest population of terrapins in the Sabi Sand actually lives in Buffelshoek Dam. There's always these tiny little heads just poking out of the water and, well, swimming around each other. But I suppose we'll only really find out when we get there. But I would that marabou stork that I was telling you about the other day has come back. That would be quite nice. And I believe that they have found the nkuhumas again. Just want to keep you all updated. They're still in the same place as they were this morning, just east of Sydney's Dam in Buffelshoek. So, ooh. So Mike has said to me he's there now, and if they do get up and start coming south, he is going to let us, of course, know. And hopefully they do. Hopefully it cools down quickly this evening and they do decide to come back this way. It's hard at the moment for the lions. We're almost at the dam, just because there's not a lot of buffalo around, and well, something like a kudu is not really going to keep them going for too long. Alright, we're almost here, Here we are. We're going to just find a nice spot to look out at. We'll go around to that. Ooh, we just went through a spider web. That was a strong one. Did you feel that one, David? Did I get it for you? You did see it. Yeah, it almost choked me. The spider web was so strong. But we're almost here. Like I said, we're going to just choose a nice little point and then we'll have a better look. And we'll hopefully be able to see some really amazing animals. Is there anything here? Check and make sure that it's safe. Looks safe. Here we are. There's the terrapins. Hello, John Vessels. You're wanting to know what are the water levels like at the moment? Are they dry? Are they full? Are they running? Well, unfortunately, Buffelshoek Dam, as you look at these terrapins, you can see the water level. You can see that even their shells are sticking out of the top of the water, sorry. So it's not great. And unfortunately, these pans don't seem to hold water very well. It seems to seep away quite quickly, because I reckon in maybe another week or so, if we don't get any more rain, I think that this pan is going to empty out. But that's also got to do with the exceptional hot weather that we have had at the moment. Here we go. There are the little terrapin heads. I think it's James trying to talk to me. Let me quickly just see if I can chat. No, they're not looking for me. They're looking for Byron. Right, we're going to go back across to James, who's got a spotted cat. Jumping on the radio very quickly. Let me see if... Right, I'm just trying to find out. Byron, I'm trying to talk on the radio now. Byron's stealing my radio time. Byron, I think it's got to do with an ingwe. I'm on Nyala Road North now. I think they're somewhere around here. I'm just trying to organize what's going on. Fantastic. So it seems as though, and I apologize that you had to run away from James, but unfortunately the signal on Nyala Road South can be a little bit sketchy, filled with gremlins, but we're going to attempt and see. I think we could have better signal with the big aerial that we have. So we're going to race down. We're on Nyala Road North now. James has said we need to get towards Nyala Road South. Let me let him know. Herbert, if you copy, I'm on Nyala Road North. I'm coming south now. Just going to let them know that we're on our way. How exciting is this? I don't know who they found. Maybe it's Karula. I hope it is. That'll be fun, especially after seeing her darling little cubs this morning. Right, we're not far. The only problem is that this road is a little bit bumpy still. Unfortunately, because it goes down and through these drainage systems, when it does rain quite a bit, it falls victim to erosion quite badly. Now, I was trying to get hold of Herbert, but he doesn't seem to be responding, so maybe he's in a bit of a dip. Because of course, they might be low down in this drainage.
So sorry, I think the gremlins are attacking Taylor. She's got a bit of a signal issue there. She's going, it's sometimes difficult. We find little patches where as soon as you hit a small little dip where the signal just jumps around a bit. But let's see. What is that? Am I seeing things? What is that? Oh, it's a stump, everyone. Well, you know, you got to be good to find a stump out here. Anyway, we've come to the clearings. I'm having a look around, but I'm heading towards Djuma Dam. And again, just the heat of the day, I like to go and check these water holes and dams because hopefully you can get animals that are down drinking or wandering about the clearings. So let's see. Still very, very warm, and like I said, I think, you know, we saw earlier those Impala and Nyala that we saw earlier in the drive. They were all in the dense thickets. They were in the shade, out of the sun, out of the heat, and that's probably better for most of these animals and where most of the animals are at the moment, unless they're drinking at some of the water holes. But as we said, also remember there's lots of water around, so they can get water anywhere, which is good. Still looking for some nice marula or marulas. So then Brian and I may have a little snack, a bush snack. And this morning we're doing a few flowers on our bushwalk, and I must apologize. I got some of the information a little bit wrong or incorrect. The foxglove which we get out in this area does not contain the digitalin that I thought it did. That is a foxglove which I think is found in Europe. That's what I managed to find out. But so very same species or family, foxglove family, but the one that we get out here apparently does not contain the digitalin that I was thinking, which is poisonous for us. And there goes a little tree squirrel. Isn't that cute? Nice to see them running around. Emery wanted to know what is my favorite plant to eat. Oh dear, plant. You know what is tasty, actually, and I don't mind eating it. And I think if I was stuck out here and I had a bit of salad dressing, perhaps I would go and pick the leaves of the buffalo thorn. And those leaves really are tasty. They're quite crunchy, crisp, sweet. And especially now this time of year, the leaves are very nice to eat. So I'd happily feed, or get a feed on. I'd happily eat the leaves off the buffalo thorn tree. They're very, very nice and tasty. But of course, marula fruit, at least, that would win. Another one that I've tasted a few times, and I'm still indecisive of whether or not I enjoy it, and it is the sour plum. Now, it really does not get the name sour plum for no reason. It is incredibly sour, and the funny thing is, and I obviously would never do this, but some guides give it to their guests and they see the funny faces they pull when they bite into this very, very sour fruit. As I said, I mean, I would never do that, but it is very entertaining to see, and they are tasty, but very, very sour, very sour. Hopefully we'll find some. I haven't seen any yet. Maybe later in the month, towards the end of the month or in February, we might start seeing some ripe sour plums. Beautiful red fruit like this, about that size, and quite tasty. Not far from the waterhole, from Djuma Dam. So we'll have a look around in that area and see what we can find. Maybe there's some animals down there. Speaking of food to eat in the bush, a friend of mine, another guide, a local guide, he lives in a village, or comes from a village not far from here. Incredible personality, very, very funny. And some of our guests, and I'm not sure if Christine or Teresa or any of you are watching at the moment, they always drive with Alfie. And hang on a second, James has got something interesting he'd like to show you. Go to him quickly.
We think this is Karula. Just moving up through there. Wonderful sighting we've had. And I'm sorry about the picture. Well, we're just going to move slowly through here. And we're trying to get Taylor into the sighting, but it is really a difficult part of the reserve to be in. Craig is about 25 feet tall at the moment, so it's very difficult for him to move through here. There. It's going to come up onto Battalier Road now. I think you got her. She's run up a little bit towards the road there. Wait, Craig.